Hello there, everybody. So today we are going to be doing another narration of sorts. This was requested by a random commenter on one of my favorite YouTubers, and I suppose it's a repeat of the Rushy situation, but here we are. So I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with this story. It's called Stormy Night, aka Shortashun in Mongolian. Now, I should warn to some of you that, don't really listen to Mongolian horror stories or, are not really Mongolian at all. They've never had any experience with it. I'd like to note that they're a little on the bizarre end where logic just doesn't tie anything together at all. Everything just feels slightly off the whole time, and I think it does a great job of adding to the effect, and I hope I did a good job of effectively translating one of my favorite horror stories. So, without further ado, here we go. Stormy Night. From Hovd province to Ulaanbaatar, the shuttle chewed on the snow as it sped through the night. Kana was a 30-something-year-old driver who had been moving people on this very route for 3 years now. This night's peculiarity could not be ignored, seeing as the biting cold was fiercer than ever. Even with the unrelenting storm intent on slowing his progress, he pressed on against the clock to deliver the passengers on time. Despite the weather being mild and inviting just that morning, a stormy night had taken control to halt the progress of all who dared to enter the domain of the empty, barren steppes. Not a single sound exited the mouths of those on the journey, and save for the little girl sitting on the lap of the elderly woman next to the driver, everyone slumbered. Heck, you couldn't even tell if the passengers were even alive since their breathing was so shallow, and so to our Rana, it felt like the little girl was his only company. So with the rumbling of the shuttle's engines, the unending road continued. With no solace to be found in distraction of fellowship and conversation, Kana began to tire and his eyelids grew heavier. Abruptly, the little girl's gleeful voice called out, "Hey mister, I think I just saw my mom cross the road up ahead in her nightgown." Kana was wide awake now and retorted, "I'm sorry, what was that?" "Yeah, my mom was just there." "Where?" "Mister, didn't you see her across the road just then?" "No," he said and started to wonder to himself. Out here in this desolate snowscape, with nothing but this car and the road ahead, who the fuck would be out on foot? No, that's impossible. Nobody would be out in a nightgown of all things on a night cold enough to freeze demons in their tracks. The kid's just thinking funny. He turned to the girl. "You said you saw your mom out there?" "Yeah, I saw her when she passed the car. Mommy was running while cracking a smile towards me." "Kid, are you sure you aren't just imagining things?" No, it really was my mom." "Hey, look, mister, she's running right along, just outside your window. Please, sir, slow down the car. My mom's getting cold," said the girl as she began to blubber insensibly. Kana felt himself darken. Every cell in his body screamed out, keeping him from looking to his side, and a cold sweat began to form. Try as he might putting the metal to the pedal, it felt like the car was just going slower. Even with the girl crying now, nobody awoke. Not even the elderly woman who held her on her lap. Just as Kana pulled his eyes to the window, he caught the sight of some freak beginning to flounder behind in his rearview mirror. He immediately wanted to wake everybody up, but his voice betrayed him. No vocal cords rang out. In that moment of sheer panic, he nearly lost control of the vehicle on the slick, icy path. Stealing a glance at the mirror again, only the dark greeted him. For some reason, Kana stopped the car. No passenger felt the change, and all kept to slumber. "Hey kid, if that really was your mom, why is she running out through a snowstorm? Didn't your mom stay home? Why would really anything, let alone your parent, be out here?" This was Kana's sorry attempt to calm himself and try to get the little girl to quiet down. A couple days ago, my mom was sent to the place with all the stones jutting out from the ground. I guess your stone home is out here or something, said the girl through tears of torrents coming out in less streams now. Kana's heart felt heavy and his eyes began to water. In all his 30-odd years on Earth, he had never come across such a poor and sorry soul. But his innate senses took hold of him soon enough, and he looked back at the mirror, wary of the creature out in the night. And oh God, he prayed that the sight was playing a game of deceit. He believed his eyes more than ever now. There really was something racing to catch up with the unmoving vehicle, a freak in a waving nightgown and floundering hair. After staring in disbelief and bewilderment, Kana turned on the engine and floored it. This time, his doubts took over. What if the freak keeps up with the car this time? Stealing glances at the mirror every other moment, the shuttle continued to pick up speed. The existence of the freak was no longer up for a debate. Didn't make a wink of difference though, be it a witch or a demon or a spirit. Kana knew it must catch up to the vehicle. The worst part was, there was no settlements or anywhere to stop until he reached the city. It would be surprising for the driver if somebody then dared told him that the shuttle was the last living thing in the country. Lost in thought, Kana nearly crashed into a ditch this time around and violently swerved to avoid such a fate. People woke at last. Drenched in sweat now, the driver checked for signs of the freak and saw nothing in the mirror. Passengers took notice of the distress hanging in the air, causing panic, confusion, and commotion. Kana told them of all the events which transpired. He noted how they slept with a disturbing silence without stirring one bit. His talk was cut off by the wailing of the elderly woman, asking about where the little girl on her lap was. She was gone. It took only a moment for everyone to check and realize that the little girl wasn't even in the vehicle. The engine was immediately killed, and people began searching out in the darkness for the little girl, calling out, looking for disturbed snow. A search party of men armed with metal tools backtracked onto the pitch-black road to look. They found no traces whatsoever. How and when could the little girl just exit the shuttle as if passing through the wall? The hunt certainly proved fruitless, and the searching began to cease. The party's hearts, especially Kana's, felt laden with bricks of superstitious fear, concern, and bleak uncertainty about the little girl's disappearance. All this time, dawn wasn't approaching even an inch closer. When they returned to the car, passengers shot through with panic, and a damaged door greeted them. Upon being asked what happened, the elderly woman told them that some tousle-haired freak tried to break into the shuttle, with all their remaining hope being shredded by the unexplainable, innate feeling that their safety would now be breached. Everyone urged the driver to continue the journey. Kana told them of their responsibility for their fellow humans, especially for that of an innocent child. Did he just want closure? Before the thought could manifest, somebody piped up. I'm a local from where that girl lived. Her name is Seedling. A week ago, her mother passed away and she's being taken to an orphanage in the city. I'm on a business trip, but she's with me. We had to take her somewhere willing to give care, they explained. Everyone's hearts were now pierced to the core with a feeling of cold dread. Just about everyone grabbed something to defend themselves with, and the elderly woman changed places with a burly fellow who just about mustered up the courage. God fucking damn it! The car wouldn't start! The well-oiled and maintained vehicle suddenly refused to obey, as if in alliance with the cruel weather. The driver managed to hotwire the damn thing and they shot down the road. Nobody in the car wanted to dwell on the fact that they left the little girl behind out in the night. Suddenly, Kana heard words being said right into his ears. The words of the little girl Seedling. Mister, why are you leaving me behind? He slammed the brakes, and in the mirror, the image of a girl panting through the snow was spotted. She was pulled in, and everyone was content. And now everyone was content with taking off like a bat out of hell. Seedling, you alright, kiddo? How did you take off to and where? Kana inquired. Oh, I wanted to meet my mom. What? And where is she? Oh, don't worry, she said she wasn't cold, but she's really hungry and craving some meat. Since I didn't have any meat on me, Mom sent me to ask if you guys can spare some. If you guys don't have any, she said I'll have to do, whatever that means. All I know is that you guys shouldn't give her meat. I want to go with her, said the girl. Every passenger's blood froze, and their instincts drove every head to turn towards the back windows. The freak known as Sitlinge's mother was in pursuit of the shuttle once again. The elderly woman spoke up this time. Something ain't right with her. Something this world is keeping her from death. The cost comes in the form of a relentless flesh-craving hunger. We can't let that thing catch up and like that. She immediately broke off into a litany of prayers. The type of naive prayer that parents tell their little children for warding off evil spirits and ghosts. But monsters and demons are invented to scare children. These people were being chased by living death. Before long, the freak had nearly caught up to the car. The driver refused to look and kept his eyes squarely on the road. Then suddenly, it leapt forth, standing with arms outstretched on the road ahead as if to embrace the several-ton car head-on. Kana shut his eyes and braced for impact, hoping, with whatever will was left in him, that this freak was at least human enough to be crushed or batted away. The last thing he heard before his eyes opened was that of the little girl pleading to not be run over, and the crunch of impact. Kana stopped the car and looked for his hunter-turned-bounty. There really was something by the road swatted far away. Carefully, as if scared of waking the figure, Kana took a closer look. He didn't believe his eyes. The body that lay dead was not the freak's, but that of the 5-year-old girl, the all too lively and energetic little human who sat next to him the whole night was turned into a pulp of flesh and bone. No, it was just some mind game. The actual girl must be in the shuttle, Kana thought as he stumbled back, eyes bleary and mind hazy. No sign of the girl. No sign of the freak. He couldn't deny it. Sitlinge was dead. As if summoned by the elderly woman's wishes, dawn broke when she said, I suppose the freak got what she wanted after all. To save her daughter from a childhood of misery and a life of hardship and torment. She didn't want to leave her little girl all alone to face the world. The sun rose, and the soft swirling of a dying snowstorm. A shuttle car out in the white wasteland headed off to civilization, carrying the corpse of a 5-year-old girl.